Hi, Colin Lennox here with EcoIslands LLC. Just hanging out down in Dad's lab, and we have with us today Kyle Damman. Kyle
Okay.
has been with us how long now?
Well, if we started in 2011,
2010.
math, 2010,
Yeah.
8 years now. That's wild. It's been that long. Think about it. Colin, I remember
Oh
like it
man.
was yesterday. I came up to your house. We were talking about maybe helping with the website, some branding work, right?
Yeah.
Something like
Real early
that.
work. Yeah.
And I met you at a Chamber of Commerce meeting. If you remember, that was a meetup group. And I think I came up and you and an intern were working in a pond.
Courtney Bailey. Hey
Courtney
Courtney.
Bailey.
Working
Hey,
for
Courtney.
Uber right now in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I saw her in Pittsburgh once, but that's another story.
Oh yeah, say that
Random
one
way
for
I ran
later.
into her.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
So anyhow, yeah, I came up your driveway, and you guys had this whole sort of cascading, a couple layers of ponds that you were using as a study sort of platform, right? You had some different materials you were testing to see how it was holding the biofilm and a couple other things. I don't quite know.
Yeah, it was. We were using 100-gallon water troughs for cattle, Rubbermaid style, and it was one of our earliest experiments using floating islands to remediate nutrients. And in that system, it didn't work very well. It was a step. It was a learning step.
Yeah.
It was because of those different waterfall effects. We had all the components of what would become the MRU.
Okay.
Later on.
Yeah.
So it was all there even back then. We just had to put the pieces together, right?
What stands out for me being not the science background, I remember like looking in those boxes that you were working with, and there were frogs jumping around, salamanders coming out. It was almost like it was like a magnet for wildlife. And to me with this product, and one of the reasons I'm so excited about it is because when you install these in anywhere, a mine drainage site, anywhere that water needs cleaned, it's creating an environment that's in harmony with nature, not a big artificial concrete construct full of pumps and systems and all that. So it feels like it's more integrated into wherever it goes, which was very fascinating to me from the beginning.
Yeah, it's proved to be quite an effective system doing it like that. Let nature take its course, and it will move along. So let's see. Yeah, you've been with us for going on 6 years now. I got my cheat sheet over here. So you're our marketing guy. Tell us, we've gone through a lot of different steps. We through some misstarts. We're a startup. There's been a lot of growing pains, to developing all of the different parts, bringing this team together. What are some lessons, I guess, that you have picked up along the way, working with us, working with your other organization, Salt Lamps, another shameless plug.
Salt Lamp behind us.
Lamp, yep. Some of the things that you've learned throughout that process.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, what I like most about startups and being an entrepreneur is that you never know what you're going to get into day to day. And while marketing is the core of what I help you do, we also sort of triage and go into the other things we need to do to keep systems moving and keep things growing. So I think one of the things that I was most excited about was the product development side. With marketing, I always start with the customer. Who am I speaking to in a sheet or in a piece of text or a brochure, right? Who are we talking to, and who's the audience? And I think we have to do the same with the products that we build. Granted, our product is quite diverse, and we're in a few different markets. We always start with the end user and reverse engineer back from there. And that to me is really important, and that's sort of the philosophy I take in everything that I do. We start with the end in mind, right? And then we work our way backwards, whether that's marketing, product development. Even when we're hiring somebody, we were doing some interviewing a few weeks ago because we're starting out and we're going to have a branch in Portland here soon. And, who is it that we want to attract? And then we write it backwards. And then the response I got, or the response we got from that in the interviews that we had, I'm still blown away by that.
Yeah, very, very high quality people. I'm impressed with how many we got that were that good. And it makes it a difficult decision. Always.
That's a good problem to have, though. You got to admit.
Yeah. No, I'd rather it that way than the other way.
Exactly.
But I was even talking with Mom today and talking about how we kind of get converts. You've got a product that is as capable and as ubiquitous as adaptable and diverse as the MRU style system, our bioremediation system. And when the light bulb finally clicks on, then there's almost a fervor that they kind of get the idea of what it is. And if I didn't have that level of dedication and understanding, seeing the big picture, 8 years of pure R&D that whole time, that's some would argue, is that even a business, or are you just like a guy in the lab that's R&D who happens to have a business license? And after 8 years, man, what a business have we got now. Just the things that we can do with these technologies. It's can you drop some Easter eggs? Speaking of that, technology is kind of moving forward. It's not just for Marvel World video or movies anymore.
It's not a dream anymore. It's real. We get people from all over the world wanting to fly Colin in to do consultations and build sites, and India to Australia, South America, Mexico. There's so many. Even to Canada, some people in Canada were interested a little while back.
Vancouver,
and we've just, the whole thing what I like about this the most is that we've been very underground about it and just making sure the foundation is right with good science, good record keeping, and the research, the people that are researching this in partnership with you, that makes me feel really good too, because we're not two guys, everybody loves their own child, right? And they think that their child's the best. And of course, when you make a product, you tend to think that way. But when you have Penn State, you got the Smithsonian Institute, and a half a dozen others that are actively using our technology right now.
You want me to list some of them?
I'm sure we'll get into that.
It's on the website.
Check out the website if you want to see all the research partners and some of the research, because, I feel like it takes a long time to get a freight train out of the station, right? It takes a lot of energy and a long time, but once that thing gets rolling, you can't stop it. And that's what I feel like we're doing, because underground, do the research, take our time. There's times where we're very frustrated with how fast things were moving. It felt slow, but we feel this momentum kicking up, and it doesn't seem to stop. It just keeps plowing. It keeps plowing. And every day you get a new email from somebody that wants to work with you. And
Right. All do, though. You got to have that outreach. You got to let people know what you have. You got to have the best product in the world. And if nobody knows about it, it doesn't matter. That's what we got this guy over here for. He's the one that's getting us out into the public and leading the way on, all right, Colin, here are the things that you want to do. Here's how you want to focus on that. And being as much a guide as well as a member of the business.
I think with a project like this, because one, we're headed to Mars. We know that this system can help build sustainable habitat.
That's one of our major goals.
If you haven't seen any of our other videos, which you will, in our Kickstarter launch that's coming up, depending on when you watch this, the Kickstarter launch may already have gone, but either way, we're using Mars as a vehicle to build this technology in a way that can help clean the world's water in developing nations that need it the most. And while there's not a ton of economic drive for that side of things, we can use the sizzle of the Mars mission to spread the technology in all sorts of ways. There are very strong economic sectors where this product is important, like growing agriculture and other things.
Indoor agriculture relates directly to Mars and acid mine drainage, which is where we got our start. Those issues are going to be exactly what we're going to be coming across on Mars when we get there, and there's no resources, but there's rock. And if there's rock and there's, now you've got minerals, you've got to get into your processing, but bioremediation and the BioLeachate process is a way to be able to very easily pull those different mineral resources that you need, including oxygen and water, out of the local environment. It's possible we could discover the first aliens in a system like this, microbes that may have survived.
Been dormant.
Yep, exactly. And they may very well be quite similar to the things like the thiobacillus ferrooxidans for low pH iron oxidation, which we have just right up over the mountain here. We're in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and the site is called Squatter Falls. We've had some really impressive results, and you can go to SlideShare those. That's where they're waiting for you.
When a professor from Penn State calls, scratching his head at almost disbelief of how much remediation this thing was able to do, the record level's above anything else that's currently in existence.
Not an exponent.
We tend to be pretty proud of that, pretty excited by that. So yeah, I mean, I think, would you say the acid mine drainage is some of the hardest pollution to treat?
Oh yeah, if you can do AMD, you can do anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we cut our teeth in the right territory, even though it was a bit of a tough road.
Yeah, it's what allowed us to build that freight train of information and data, and from that, now we've got a freight train in patents as well. We're working on a master patent right now with a whole bunch of other patents that had already been filed and awarded going back to 2013, and that started right then in 2012, 2011. So it's been a long haul, but you can't get the rocket off the launch site until you really have it fueled up and ready to go.
Yeah, I think for any aspiring entrepreneurs out there that are working in science and technology, build that patent portfolio as much as you build anything else, because we find that perpetually gets us taken seriously because we have something that's viable and can be protected for a period of time, which will attract investors because they know that any money or anything they put in will have a certain period before competition catches up. So build your IP portfolio. It's definitely important.
Yeah. There's publications and there's patents. I went for patents, and publications are, I would say, in some ways best left to the PhDs, and that's why we like to work alongside of them and basically bring them not so much into the fold, but you need them for that skeptical secondary look at the systems that we're building, and if we can get it past them, and if that they can verify that technology, then we kind of get the best of both worlds.
It's like free product development, free R&D. If you can have something that's really beneficial to society, anything that's going to bring society or the country or wherever you live forward in a way that saves. We feel a bank of these tanks can save a lot on water treatment costs for a community or a municipality. I mean, the water treatment costs for traditional, I don't know what do you call the treatment centers? The wastewater treatment.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So the wastewater treatment plants are, they build them once, how many millions of dollars they cost, and then how many years are they good for until they have to rebuild them again, 20, 30 years maybe?
40. Yeah, depending on what the technology is, the motors and pumps, the infrastructure, the buildings.
So they're using chemistry, pumps, filters to do the heavy lifting, but we use biology to do the heavy lifting.
And they do as well, but a lot of times they're focusing on anaerobic systems or systems where the embodiment within which the reactions are occurring, their bioreactor is not set up for maximum efficiency. And the way they do their systems then is that they aren't necessarily as efficient for the bioreactors that they're actually putting in there. A lot of cases they're using anaerobic reactions or without oxygen, and that the bioreactors that they have themselves they're enormous. They're large, concrete, steel,
expensive.
Take a long time to build, as well as the maintenance problems. They've got moving parts as well, and that's some of the things that we've decided to implicitly design around or away from.
Well, especially in developing nations, when you don't have the money for infrastructure, maybe over the course of the lifespan of that system, it can be somewhat cost effective. But if you don't have $20 million and a really structured workforce, I mean, you have to have concrete trucks, you have to have all these things.
PhDs in the lab.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot involved.
This can be, you can scale and plug this in almost anywhere that there's water. What do you really need for this? Not very much. Some graduated area for water flow.
Sure. Well, and we've designed around that as well. You can you can set up a tarp and put a bunch of these things sitting out and just set them at different levels with our newest system, and then that's really all you need. They're self-leveling, and you can recirculate within them to continue, say, a batch treatment, which is batch treatment like a vat of wine. Batch. It all happens in one round versus flow through, and that's what our system does, wherein a bunch of those boxes, one right after the other, will then basically biologically distill the impacts and the pollutants through bioremediation and separate the materials. Where this is most prevalent and obvious is in acid mine drainage remediation, where you can see real clear delineation lines. The big one that we're known for is iron. You get your iron down to 0.35 milligrams or below, and there's other parameters. But then if you also have a lot of dissolved manganese or even a little dissolved manganese in your water, then it just spills right out. After you get to that, but you have to hit that line. And with an MRU-based system, you can see exactly where that happens. So I call it a retocline. I don't know if that's an accurate term, but orange, 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 flips, and then it's just black, manganese oxide after that. Very visual. So they're easy to interpret. You know what you're looking at.
I think as it relates to our earlier questions, being the marketing guy, I'm not as scientifically up on this, so I try to bring a more approachable version where, of course, you certainly have your audience and the important people that need to hear the technical side. I try to bring it down to a way that somebody can understand it. Our Kickstarter campaign, we feel that we can partner with the people of Kickstarter, any member of Kickstarter, anybody who invests in Kickstarter. They can understand the social implications of this. One, it's really cool. We're going to go to Mars. Two, it's really cool because we're going to help a lot of people who don't have clean water get clean water and do it probably, sort of, we were talking about the agricultural model of profit isn't necessarily built into the system. I was reading that email that you were saying. And, are we going to trying to make a bunch of money to clean water in India? Probably not. We just want to cover our costs, provide a living to anybody who's doing it. And, that's an auxiliary of what we're doing that is very beneficial to society because when people are less sick and diseased, they're going to be more industrious and productive and, better for their communities.
Smarter.
Really. It's a no-brainer.
They'll miss less school. They'll actually have all the things that you need for a good, healthy brain, like clean water, which leads to food. And from there, it all starts from clean water. If you have that, you've got the capacity to rebuild destroyed cultures by reestablishing their ecosystems. It may be a big plastic box. It may not look sexy, but it's utilitarian. It is built
rugged
for mining.
Yeah.
What else can we say? That's the level of durability that we had to build into these systems. Anything less than that is planned obsolescence, and I think that's a bullshit concept.
Yeah, it's borderline
Pardon
criminal.
my language, but when
you're dealing with utilities and public service, planned obsolescence doesn't serve the big picture in the long term.
Yeah. So we designed the tanks to last 100 years or better. They are thermally welded. They are designed to just go forever. You have to run them over with a tank, basically, to destroy one of these
No
MRUs.
moving parts except for occasionally a solar-powered pump when necessary. But really, I mean, it's very simple. But there's some complexity in there, and that's the IP we hold close to our chest. You try to build one of these once, you're in for many years of trying to figure out why the damn thing won't work. But we've been through how many iterations have we been through to know we have to set up the environment for the biology to thrive, and that's part of our barrier to entry where we feel we have a strong advantage, and you can't just do that overnight.
No, I mean just the level to even understand that a self-selecting bioreactor, which is the term that I like to use for these. For this system as a whole, whether it be 1 or 1,000 boxes and whatever arrangements they should be, it's a self-selecting bioreactor. That the loading of the material in the water is what determines the biology and where everything falls out. That iron and manganese is a classic example of that. I know once I get the iron out, then great. In mining, you can call that your overburden. To get down to the coal, you got to get rid of all this. If the iron is your overburden, you're getting to the manganese oxide for reuse because it's a valuable material. Now you've got nature just doing the work for you. All you have to do is set it up and let it run. It's a field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. Yeah. These microbes are ubiquitous. They're in everything. Any gram of soil that you dig off the ground is going to have millions of different critters that are in there, huge diversity and large populations of each. And that's what gets catalyzed in one of our boxes, one of the MRUs.
The reason we call them self-selecting is because whatever there's a large food supply of in that box, which is any of the pollutants that we treat, which is a lot of things, any dissolved metal, and it's a lot. I mean, you could probably be here all the rest of the day talking about all the different things they can treat.
Save that for the next one.
There's all sorts of things. And the nice thing is the science is you can reference and infer, because if you know you can do X, Y, and Z, then you know you can do A, B, and C because of the way the chemistry works, or is it deeper than that?
No, that's pretty darn accurate.